Hey, my friends, welcome back to the rest of your life. And it's me, your friend Jacob, here with something I wanted to say today and every day. And that is to speak the truth, even if your voice shakes. Every time I wanted to share a video in the past, I was sharing it from a point of view or a perspective of my best self, right? And I feel like a lot of times when I would share things and I would share things and say ideal, like spiritual, wise things that I thought were smart sounding and everything. And, I just realized at a certain point, I was like, man, I don't feel like I'm living this right now. It's like I would read the book and I would understand the concept and I would talk about it and I would think, man, this is cool to share. And it was, and it's cool to share ideas. But man, I realized recently that like I don't want to share or make a video if I don't feel like I'm living what I'm talking about. And so another way to reframe it and to put it into a different way is for me to make a video saying that I'm speaking to myself, basically, right? So I'm making a video from the idea of talking to myself. Like I'm telling myself what I need to hear, right? As opposed to me saying something to you and acting like I'm living it perfectly. It's more like I'm teaching myself through a video and somebody else can see it and maybe they can appreciate what is being said, right? But basically I just wanted to say, speak the truth, even if your voice shakes, right? Speak the truth even if your voice shakes. Because I feel that over time, the less that we do that and the less that we say the truth as we see it, the more of a delusional world we contribute to living in, right? And I feel that to ignore how you feel about the world and to silence yourself, to censor yourself in order to prioritize fitting in is to ignore yourself and ignore what's inside of you, right? And so I just feel like at the end of the day, if I'm accepted by society, but I wasn't true to myself, I was a failure, right? And what is society other than just a big group of individuals, right? And so I want to be an individual in my life. I want to be a true individual with, views from every side of the aisle. I don't want you to be able to look at me and say, oh, you're a this, well, I know how you're going to think, right? Like you're a Republican, oh, I know your view on everything. You're a Democrat, I know your view on every issue. No, I'm an individual. I have views based on how I feel about things. I don't just pick a team, right? And I feel like the issue with today's world is we just want to fit in, and so we just do what our team does, and we apply the views that our team, or we adopt the views that our team adopts, right? Even if they don't ring true to us. It's almost like we would rather die. It's almost like we would rather die than to be forced to stand alone and face the group. And I personally just feel that being in a group's like task is really to destroy the individual. The group kind of subsumes and consumes the individual, right? So now you answer to the group. It's like it's like one brain as opposed to 8 different brains. It's just one, so it's like a group kind of destroys the individual. You just go along with the group. And so I'm always pretty weary of groups. Joining a team is fine, being at work or something like that. But I feel like when there's a movement in society and people get swept up into this movement and they lose all responsibility, they lose all control of their self, and the movement just becomes something else. And it's like, I just heard once, it was like the real revolution in life is going to happen at the individual level. To make a change in the way you see and the way you feel is really the only hope we have, because once a revolution happens, like in a group setting, it's almost like it's bound for destruction. It's kind of because, but so anyway, I just wanted to remind people that the more you can speak your truth in the world and speak the truth and keep finding the truth and looking for the truth and not settling for what the world tells you, the more you can do that, the better world that we will have to live in, really. And so, not being afraid to have uncomfortable conversations or to have an unpopular opinion. Oftentimes I feel like there's so many people who think something, but nobody's brave enough to say it. And so we are all kind of joined together in a conspiracy to ignore what's so obvious in front of us. And I see that in society, people just, I guess we're accepting this now. Without really saying, hey, wait a minute, what is this? It's like all these new things are just rolling out and people just go along with it because they don't want to be that guy who says something. And like I said earlier, it's like there's worse things than being that guy, right? Like, to fit into the group and to lose all responsibility for yourself, that's not a win, But people seem to think that it's easier. I mean, it is easier to just go along and get along in life, to just do what's popular and to not really be like, hey, I have my own views on this thing, right? And I'm just here to say that all that evil needs to thrive in the world is for good people to do nothing. For me and you to sit here and say, oh, I choose comfort. I choose, I don't want to have a confrontation for my beliefs. I'm just going to go along to get along, even though I don't agree with this. I don't want to stand up to it. And that's all that evil needs to thrive, is for good people to know what is right and what is wrong and to just play along with it, because we are, just afraid to have an uncomfortable situation. Speak the truth even if your voice shakes. Do it for yourself. Do it for your kids. Call it how you see it. Don't let the group or the crowd make you second guess and doubt how you feel and what you see. Be an individual. Be a human being, right? Because the only hope we have at a better world is in the individual. So that's what I wanted to say today. I love you guys, and I hope you're doing well. I hope that even if you're going through a hard time right now, this too will pass, and there's people here with you, and you are loved. And so, thank you for being here. Much love.